Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. In today's video, I'll be giving you guys a guide on how to play Zyra Carry. Now, a standard version of the build, and I have some dark technology that we'll be talking about in this build, an alternative way to play her that is just as good or better than the standard version. So I'm very excited to show you guys that at the end of the video. This is a build that I've picked up in about the past week. About the end of patch 12.17b is where we're at, and it's been so much fun and actually feels pretty strong. Like, you know, when I made the Lagoon guide, Lagoon is like strong in the right circumstances. This build actually feels pretty strong and is slept on by a lot of players. It's very fun. It's not contested at the time of making this video, and in theory it should be good on 12.18 as well, as they did buff the entire AP line, which makes this build easier to play. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Now here we are, and one thing I want to say before we start getting into it, I'm going to be showing you guys the early game setup, the mid game setup, late game setup, augments, all the good stuff. We're going to be talking about everything here. But what I wanted to say before we really get into it is, I think this build is hard to play, and I should have mentioned that on the Lagoon video as well. I think Lagoon is actually pretty difficult to play. You have to play very aggressive. You need a very specific setup. In this comp, it's difficult in a different way because you have to kind of juggle a lot of carries. There's not like a linear progression into your comp that's super easy. And I think I should have mentioned that in the Lagoon video, because I've had a lot of people message me saying how they have had no luck playing Lagoon, and it's because the build is actually pretty hard to play and you have to really know what you're doing. I think this one is difficult, but in a different way, because you have to keep juggling carries. I know I just said that, but you have to keep like juggling carries, and it can be difficult in that way. So it might take you a little bit to get used to it, but let's get into it. All right. Item start is going to be bow, rod, belt. Those are your best item starts. Bow, because we're going to be building Rage Blade. Bows are also very good in the dark technology build. ZZ Rots are very good in this build. Buying time for Zyra, and just putting some ZZ Rots on Silas is very good as well. So I do really like bow start, and I like playing around Rage Blade as it is the most flexible item in the game and most flexible within this own build as well. Allows us to play the dark technology build. If we get too many bows, that's fine, because we can put more bows onto Siphon. We can build ZZ Rod, so I do really like bow. After that, rod is very good. We will be building Rage Blade and a bunch of AP items that we can build, and we have alternative AP carries we can play. And then also I like belt. I think belt is just the best tank item. We can build a Sunfire for early game for tempo. We can build ZZ Rods, all the good stuff. So I do really like that as well. All right, augments. Any standard meta augments are going to be good to go here. You know, when I was talking about Lagoon, you really need to take all combat augments, especially gold combat augments. I've done this build and done some gold econ augments, and it's felt okay. So I just take standard meta augments, you'll be good to go. But Evoker Heart's very good in this. Allows you to do some stuff with your build later. Healing is very good. Axiom as a third augment is very good. I do not like taking it early, as it's hard to get value on a lot of characters early, but late game it's very good on Zyra, because she can cast, kill a bunch of people, and then instantly cast again. Feels very good, and especially if you're playing stuff like A-Soul and stuff like that too, can be very nice for that. Mage Emblem is very good. Mage Emblem is very good on Zyra. Very easy to play around with our linear progression that we go into, so that can be good. And Double Trouble can be good in theory. I've just never personally ran it. We do end up running multiple Zyras, not even at 3-star, just at 2-star in this build quite a bit. So Double Trouble in theory can be good, but I just haven't had an opportunity to try it, so I'm not fully endorsing it. Okay, win condition for this composition is 6 Whispers upgraded, so 2-star, all the 6 Whispers, and then have a Zyra 2-star with items and have a side carry. So side carry can be Siphon or a bunch of other people I'm going to show you later. But important to note, you only need a Zyra 2. Do not re-roll for a Zyra 3. You can if it's free, but do not stay on 6 and re-roll for Zyra 3. You do not need it. Zyra 2 is all that you need. And we can get an additional Zyra later to run 2 Zyra 2s. Sometimes 2 Zyra 2s is stronger than a Zyra 3. Actually, I'd say most of the time it is. So do not sit there and re-roll for a Zyra 3. You do not need it. You can hit Zyra 3 if you high roll, but do not like go out of your way to hit it. Okay, opener. So that's what we're going to talk about here on this slide. Opener, honestly, you can play whatever you want, but I really like to play around Astrals and Lagoons. We don't play the Zyra comp until very later. You don't even carry Zyra, even if you have her in your comp, until we get the full comp online, as it does Giga Spike at 6 Whispers, which is hard to achieve until we get to like stage 4 or early parts of stage 5. So we are going to be playing around Astrals and Lagoons. I think are the best, because Astral and Lagoons allow you to play around Mage, Evoker, and allows you to play Silas, and Silas is like a big piece of this comp. Silas is a very strong unit to play around the early mid game, so that's why I really like playing around Astrals and Lagoons. Also, you can make the extra econ, because especially if you want to hard force into the comp like I've been doing, has been very good. So yeah, I like to play around something like this. This this is like the Exodia of early game opener. If you get this opener, you have Exodia for this comp. This is insane. We have the Econ generation. We have 3 mage. We have Silas that we get to play around the entire game. And if we get this set up, even though we don't really like tank items on Silas unless we end up playing Mage Namzi or Mage Zyra, you can just put the tank items on your Silas because he is the best user, and you can remake him later to put your tank items in better spot. The better spot is Pantheon in the late game. But yeah, we just slam the Rage Blade down here on the Lux and we play around the Lux. Or if you get an AP item, slam the AP item on the Lux and you'll be good to go. Now let's talk about our mid game. Now, if we had that same progression from the build we just had, so if you had that Exodia opener, then this would be something you'd look for mid game. You add the Zyra in for Whispers, and then you add the Seraphine in to get you Evoker. And this is very nice, this version of the build, because we still have the Econ generation, and we also get to play our unit that we're going to play around. So it's not just sitting there on the bench hogging up money and hogging up space. So I do really like this. If you're able to play something that looks like this, can be very nice. But again, if you need to pivot, if you need to roll it down and make a good comp, do not be scared to roll on stage 3, because that allows us to hit our Zyras. If we roll on stage 3, roll on level 6. So do not be scared to roll right now to get stronger. If you need to get stronger on stage 3, we're not fast dating. We're not doing anything with that. Fast dating actually isn't very good in this build because we do need to hit our Zyra as well. But the important thing is don't get baited into carrying Zyra too early. Zyra. Carrying Zyra too early. You definitely don't want to carry her too early. She does not hit super hard until you get 6 Whispers, and also doesn't provide as much value to your team until there's a lot of people on the map. So people are level 8, people are level 9. They have a lot more units to help Zyra's targeting as well. So you really want to carry somebody like a Lux or Namzi, something like that. If the Namzi is Mage or Evoker, definitely you can roll down for one of that, for the Evoker Namzi or Mage Namzi, and play around that for mid game. Can be very strong. But if you have a Lux too, Lux does, oh wait, I can't say in this video, I gotta keep it monetized. Lux does super well. So I like to play around with Lux, but you can roll down for Namzi if you need to. And if Namzi is going to be somebody that you end up playing in your late game comp, and we'll talk about the options of when you play Namzi in the late game comp later on in the video, it's fine to itemize the Namzi, and you just have to remake the Namzi later to get the items off the Namzi and onto the Zyra. But Namzi and Lux are definitely on stage 3, are much better carries than Zyra, and that's why we're going to be carrying them at this stage. Okay, now we're going to get into our late game comp construction. Now, I just want to show this screen right here because these are the units that you'll play every game. These are the only units that you'll play every game. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 spots taken. We have 3 flex spots every single game on level 8. That's every game. Pretty pog, right? But we just have to play these 6 Whispers, and we'll talk about their items in a second, but these are where I generally like to put the items. I like the tank items on Pantheon, side carry items on Siphon, very consistent. We do have additional side carries if we get items for them that we'll talk about, and then obviously our carry items are going to go on Zyra over here. All right, this is what it looks like, and now we'll look at some options. So now we're just going to go through a bunch of different options of what the team could look like. And now this is if you get Evoker Namzi. If you get Evoker Namzi, we're definitely playing it. Lulu is super strong. We get to get 3 Evoker really easily. We can get 4 Evoker if we don't want to play the additional Zyra. But this is what it looks like. This is what the build looks like. Very good. Now, again, we'll talk about the Zyra items in a bit, but this is pretty standard. I really like Rageblade. You do not need mana gain from something like a Sojin. Sojin can be nice, but Rageblade is much better because you get to stack up your Whispers. So you actually gain AD and AP as you're attacking super fast. So I don't like Sojin as much as Rageblade. Rageblade is definitely the tech. I do really like Jeweled Gauntlet. I think Jeweled Gauntlet is super good because you do have a whole lot of AP and you want that AP to crit. And then I really like healing on Zyra because sometimes she'll just get like kind of cucked by assassins at the beginning of the fight, or she just like gets hit by enemy Zyra and like random damage hitting her and she'll die. So I really like a little bit of healing on her. Can feel very nice, but it is definitely not required. But it is nice if we just have healing augments and we just go something else here. But items, I'll just go ahead and say items for Zyra are, if you're playing standard Zyra, are always Rageblade JG +1. It are the items there. You can itemize Namzi if you'd like. But I like my standard secondary carry items to go on my Siphon. But if you just get random leftover AP items, they can definitely go here. And I've had plenty of games where I just put a TG up here and I put carry items on my additional AP carry. You can also, if you get additional AP items, you can carry the second Zyra if it is a Zyra 2-star. Is very, very, very strong. But that is if you have a Zyra 2, an additional Zyra 2-star, put that there. Now, why do we play Zyra here instead of Seraphine, it's just Zyra is so much better. An additional Zyra, because this Zyra is also benefiting from everything. It's benefiting from Evoker, it's benefiting from Whispers, and if we get some extra items later and we toss them on here, we have 2 Zyras that are hitting like a truck, absolutely carrying our comp, and then Siphon just gets to clean them up. It is very, very, very nice. Or Siphon or Namzi gets to clean it up. So that is this version right here. This is if you have Evoker Namzi. This is what your level 8 board can look like. And your level 9 is just whatever. It can be Soraka, it can be Bard, it can be another Evoker. That can be fine. You can drop this and play ASOL if you get ASOL too. So those are some of your level 9 options there. All right, let's talk about this one right here. So this is if Namzi is a mage and you have a mage emblem. So if Namzi is a mage, I typically don't play Namzi just to get mage for Silas. Now mage for Silas is very strong, but in my experience it's not very worth, unless you also hit a Zoe. Then you could run the mage here and run the Zoe and not have a mage here. We'd be at 4 mage, and that'd be fine, but it's not really about Namzi. It's just to enable Zoe and this dude, and we could honestly just drop Namzi and just play a random Lux if we really wanted to get mage. So in general, I don't like to run Namzi mage unless I have a mage emblem in my in-game comp. So I only run it if I have in my in-game comp, but in theory, you could still run it just to get 4 mage, but you're probably better off just playing a Lux and an Evoker. Oh yeah, you're definitely better off playing Lux and an Evoker, because then we would not have Evoker for Zyra. So disregard what I said at the beginning. Definitely only play this if you have a mage emblem, for sure. Sorry, I was thinking out loud there. Okay, so mage is just really insane on Zyra. So if you get a mage emblem and it's mage Namzi, this is what your board looks like. If you get a mage emblem and it's not mage Namzi, then you just put the mage emblem here, you play the Zoe, and then you can play whatever. You can play another Zyra, and you can play a Seraphine to give you Evoker, and you'll be good to go. That's what the comp would look like without Namzi. But anyways, this is just a really strong version of the build as well. You just go mage spat and then puts the JG, as the build is Rageblade JG +1. All right, next version. This is if you play ASOL. So I actually just played a version with ASOL. I actually played 2 different matches with ASOL today, and it's actually felt very strong if you get ASOL items, and it's very strong if you get an ASOL too. And I'll leave a link down below for a VOD of me playing the Dark Technology build, but I also do carry an ASOL, so you guys can check that out. I'll leave a link down below if you guys want to watch a VOD of me actually playing this build today. I think a lot of you guys can learn from that if you need help need help getting through it, you know. Anyway, so this version is if we hit an ASOL, early ASOL, or we have items to play ASOL, like, you know, you have like Archangel or JG or Giant Slayer, BT, something, you know, whatever. You know, if you want to play ASOL, you can play ASOL. It feels pretty strong. Makes your cap very strong, because when you go 9, you can upgrade the ASOL. Feels very good. So yeah, we just play ASOL plus an additional Zyra. You don't have to play Zyra here. You could play another Evoker, but I just really like playing this over Seraphine. I think it is better. For sure. So this is the version, and you just give leftover items to ASOL. All right, now for the Dark Technology build, what you've all been waiting for. And this is actually the version of the build that I play in the VOD that I link down below, except for that I play ASOL. So I'm also just showing you a different version of the build. So playing Seraphine and Bard isn't specific to the Dark Technology with the Runans and GS thing that I have going on here. That is not specific to this. I'm just showing you another version of the backline that you can play if you don't play Namzi, if you don't play Namzi and you don't play Mage Spat with a Zoe, or you don't play ASOL, then this is also another version of the build. You just play Seraphine for Evoker and additional Zyra, and you play Brad for Mystic and for Guild, because he's super strong. He gets his Brad buff. Okay, now let's talk about this. So Rageblade Runans is extremely strong because you just are gaining AD the entire time. So a lot of times just right click your Zyra at the end of the fight, and she'll have like 250 AD, which is insanity, right? So you can get a lot of value from having Runans. So the build is Rageblade Runans +1. I played Giant Slayer in the game that I played of it today. It felt very strong, especially with Nunu's running around, Olaf's running around, stuff like that. It felt very, very, very strong. So I really liked GS, and it is especially nice if you have a healing augment. I had Thrill, so it felt very nice. But I think the additional item here you can put another Runans. You can honestly put another Rageblade if you wanted to. I don't think those are the best versions, but you could probably do that. And also Hodge. I really like Hodge there. You can also just go JG here just so her spell crits really hard. That can be fine as well. Obviously can be great. But this is the on-hit version of it, and this is very fun and feels very consistent for those of you who complain about Zyra missing too often. Well, a lot of the damage here is AD, so she can't really miss, well, she can miss auto attacks, but just like everybody else. Anyways, so this is the dark technology build. Very, very, very fun, very cool. So let's talk about some items real quick on all of our carries. So as I said before, Zyra standard is Rageblade Jeweled Gauntlet +1. That is always the build. Zyra dark tech. Oh, well, you can play IE obviously if you get the Jeweled Lotus, but whatever. Zyra dark tech is Rageblade Runaan's +1. Siphon is healing +2. If you've never played Siphon, you just go BT +2, but I really like this setup. Titan's IE, I like that a lot. You do a lot of damage. So I really like the IE because the charge damage, it makes your charge damage quite a bit and auto attack damage quite a bit. You don't need the additional IE for the bite, but it does feel very good. But it's just really healing +2. Pantheon gets your tank items. Silas is a ZZ Rot bot. So if you get ZZ Rots, you just put them on this guy, or leftover tank items. But in Mage, you can actually itemize him as main tank if you'd want to. But Pantheon also still serves very well as a main tank. So you don't have to like juggle, you don't have to like remake the Pantheon because you're playing Mage and Silas needs the Mage items. He is probably the preferred tank in that build. But Pantheon is a Giga tank no matter what build you're playing, so you're good to go. And then Asol, Namzi, Second Zyra, and Zoe, they just get all the leftover garbage. So don't worry about them. Just worry about getting your Zyra items. Worry about getting a duo carry, whether that's going to be Asol, Namzi, or Siphon. I do like Namzi, or not, I mean, I do like Siphon as the most consistent one. And then tank items for one of your tanks. That's really all you need to think about. Anyways, guys, that is it for the video. Again, if you need to watch some gameplay of this, I will link down below a VOD of me playing it. It's my most recent game of playing this at the time I make this video. I'm wearing the same shirt and everything. I highly recommend that VOD. And I'm playing the dark technology build in that, but it still applies to any version of the build that you'll play. Yeah, so let me know down below if you have any questions about the build. I'd be happy to answer them. I have a lot of fun playing this, and I just want you guys to have fun and gain some LP. Actually got promoted to GM off of this. I mean, I've just been forcing this build for fun, but it actually feels very strong as well. So anyways, if you guys liked the video and you felt like you learned something from this, please like the video. This helped me out a lot on YouTube. And you can comment down below a question or just anything. That also helps me out on YouTube. You can subscribe here. I post TFT content. You can follow me on Twitch. I'm really trying to grow my Twitch. Really trying to grow it, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you went over there and gave me a follow and came and hung out and stream sometime, but you know, that's up to you. And then also I post pretty much every day on twitter.com/tradingtft. I'll leave links to everything below if you guys want to follow me on any of those places. But that's it, guys. Appreciate all of you. Hope you have a fantastic day, fantastic night, wherever you are. I just hope you're doing well. See ya. Bye.